Practicing.
Yeah. It's gonna be one of those like bloopers reel at the end where it's like.
Okay. Tell me.
What song should I play?
About your first love.
What? Can you help me?
Tell me.
What song should I?
Tell me.
Cat.
Tell me. Tell me. Tell me. Hijo, tell me.
Stop. Start over.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay. Is it recording?
Yeah.
Tell me about your first love.
I was in my sophomore year of high school and decided that you were to join the swim team. And I remember the first time that we made eye contact, his eyes were like a light brown, and I just remember immediately smiling. But like, there was like something beneath them that looked like it was trapped, you know? I think that we started out swimming in different lanes, but by the second week, we were swimming in the same lane, like taking turns leading it. And for like a month, we only interacted like around the pool. Like, you know, conversations in between sets, heavy sighs after we, you know, a long set, and like high fives for finishing for a good time, stuff like that. It's like, we were teammates, but like I could easily sense that we could one day become more. You know, it's actually really weird is that I can still like recall what his kick looks like from whenever I swam behind him. And I always gave him shit for it because he would cross his feet every time he turned to breathe, which is like a bad habit that you can get into. But somehow, you know, he was faster than me. Only slightly though. Only slightly.
So you two were close.
Yeah, I would say so.
Did you guys ever talk to each other outside of the pool?
Yeah, we did. In October, we formally met through a mutual friend on dry land, finally. I finally saw him with clothes on. Anyway, we exchanged we exchanged numbers and kind of immediately began texting each other, you know, right when we got home. And you know, I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, but that was so high school. We literally nonstop texted over the course of the next 3 weeks, you know, like completely from like good morning to good night.
That is so high school.
I know. It all felt so natural. There never seemed to be any unnecessary drops in the conversation. And like, it was the same thing whenever we spoke face to face. It was, you know, we just loved talking to each other. You know, we both got excited about the same things, and yeah, you know, granted, we probably both have ADD, but that's kind of just a given. There wasn't much silence between us. To the point that, like, whenever we dropped each other off at each other's houses, we would just learn to turn the car off, like, put it in park, and just, like, sit there. Because we knew that, like, whatever we finished talking about, it would be, like, half an hour later that we would get in the house.
So, during any of these texts or car talks, did he ever come out to you?
Around mid-November, I would say that I must have gained his trust enough for, like, him to come out to me. And on some level, I already knew, so I wasn't exactly surprised, but, you know, I didn't realize how big of a moment this was for him until later.
Sounds like things were pretty great. What happened?
Well, the more time we spent out of the water, the more out of control we got. So, like, you know, both of us are reckless, and we like to get into mischief a lot of the time. So I don't even remember the amount of traffic cones or lawn ornaments we stole. Also, we may have been pretty irresponsible for the destruction of a fountain, but...
Oh my god.
No, but it was great. I mean, I don't remember everything we did, but it was, you know, whatever it was, like, always worked really well, and we were, like, really good in planning and executing it. And, you know, we had, by December, reached a point where we could have entire conversations just with our eyes. We got selfish for each other's attention.
Did it ever culminate into anything other than...
Just frolicking around?
Yeah. That.
Yeah. Maybe not like the physical sense, but he came over like late one night to want to walk. Why? I don't know. It was freezing, and he was freezing, but apparently couldn't accept my jacket. dumbass. Anyway, he tells me that he likes me, something that I had also already suspected. And so, naturally, since I liked him, I told him that I liked him as well.
So what?
Yeah, not really. Before I finished talking, I told him that even though the feeling was mutual, it wouldn't be a good idea to pursue his feelings.
What?
No, I know, I'm stupid, but my reasoning was that over the past few months, I felt like I had come to understand his life somewhat intimately, and I knew that I could hold no place in it. And for the sake of what I believed to be his emotional stability, I said no.
Oh.
But I was still incredibly proud of him. In the span of 2 months, he had managed to come out to at least one person, accept himself as a gay male, and try to reach out for an intimate relationship.
What happened after that?
Well, the last weeks of December, we had exams, so we still continue talking incessantly over text. But right as school was ending, I vanish. I go off to vacation. Our communication while I was away was sparse, but my mind wouldn't stop filling it in the empty spaces with thoughts of him. I really regretted the words that I'd said to him weeks before. I told him that I wanted to take them back, but he wouldn't let me because he thought that I had actually done him a favor, and he thanked me for my logical approach. Well, when I arrived back, the constant talking ceased. Whether out of anger or lack of energy, we both kept a distance. But even though our phones rang less often, we still remained close friends. Maybe a little too close. But, being hurt by the events of the past weeks, when school started again, I hid my feelings from him. And to respect his privacy, I could tell no one. So
it was over just like that?
No. After 5 months of somewhat awkward interactions, we spent a night, together under the stars and kissed. It was an immediate mistake. A complete lack in judgment on my part because I was actually currently in a relationship with another guy. So, we just apologized to each other and agreed to never speak of it again. But, I wasn't really sorry. I mean, would you be? We tried to keep our distance after that, but for some reason we just couldn't. We were drawn to each other. Although we always remained really careful never to allow ourselves near another slippery slope again. 6 months and a breakup later caused me to question my attraction to this one friend who, even now, I consider one of my best friends. I realized there was nothing I could do to try and control my attraction because he was not only gay, but he was also Mormon, which made the situation much more complicated. And what was I supposed to do? At 16, I knew he wasn't equipped to handle the fall that he would experience from his life and his family and his friends, and I was really unsure of my ability to be a stable support. I on some level I felt like I just got a sense that it wasn't time for him yet. He would have to wait a little longer before he could fully express his total self in life. It's difficult to look back now, 3 years later, and not feel a little pang of regret. I loved him, and I find myself comparing the environment which I live in now to the terms and feelings which I felt when he was in my life. It's not an overwhelming feeling of grief, but rather, little interjections in my conscience that force me to remember specific moments of our friendship. Inexplicably happy is what he made me, I would say. And without that, it's easy to feel a little lost. But, I have pretty good map reading skills, so I think I'll be fine. If people could see the roll of your eyes right now. Can I put that in the film?
just Wes Anderson zoom in.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Oh God, that took way too long.
Yeah.